I don't know if you heard that or not. Maybe he'll say it again. Hello. I think we have an Englishman in my computer. And this is Karen with newclevelandradio.net. And it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo. And we are really live.
We are live. We are alive, live, and whatever. There should be. There's always, you need to be three all the time. So we're alive, live, and living. Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Paul Seaburn, the host of What in the World, and it is Tuesday. If you're listening live, we're on a little late today. That's okay. You know, we can deal with it. Karen is testing out. Karen Hale, by the way, our producer and media mogul, is testing out some new equipment. I'm not sure what the meaning of her shirt is for those of you that are watching us on YouTube.
I heard enough yesterday.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. And for those of you who are regular listeners to our podcast, I have my Bigfoot sweatshirt on, which means that one of our stories has to do with Bigfoot, which I know John is always excited about. John, by the way, is John DiNallo, my old friend, my compadre, our color commentator, and host of What in the World of Sports. And John's got some good sports stories for us today as well. So remember our motto: real news, always real news, sometimes strange, always funny. You come here to get away from the bad news, the business news, I don't even want to list all those things because I don't want to remind you of them. We're here to have some fun with some weird stories that you may not have heard on the mainstream media, because 9 times out of 10, you only hear them here on What in the World. I do want to mention one thing, though, and that is that I am the editor and head writer at mysteriousuniverse.org. And this week, I have had four stories about UFOs in Ukraine. And there's been a lot of interest in those. I didn't want to talk about them on What in the World because they're not funny, but they're very interesting. If you're interested in UFOs and the appearance of them during wartime, which is a historical subject worthy of multiple podcasts that many people that know far more than me have done. It's worth taking a look. So that's mysteriousuniverse.org. Just look up my name or Google me, or all those things. You can find it. But try it out. If you just want to have some fun, look me up on Facebook. I'm always trying out new stories there. You can get a jump on what we might be doing at What in the World. So let's get right to it. I've got some great stories here. I mentioned Bigfoot. I've got a photo of a Bigfoot footprint, which is hard to say. So we'll see how that. We'll get John's vote on it. John is our Bigfoot critic. So
I am. Yes, I am. Yes, Paul and Karen, as you know, I am a Bigfoot critic for a lot of reasons. But we'll just continue on with the show. Let's do it.
Okay, so speaking of, this is a double comedy subject here. I've got a story about a comedian in space, so we're going to be talking about that. This is one for you, John. Some athletic nuns in Italy, so we'll hear about their sport.
Oh, wow.
From Ohio, our hometown. We're all in Northeast Ohio. There are some UFO houses being built in Ohio, so I'm going to talk about that. Bears robbing bakeries. This is from Italy. Let's see. The Bigfoot footprints are in North Carolina. I got a cool story. Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston from Friends both have lived in haunted houses, and they were talking about it this week. So I want to make sure I get to that story. And then, more trivia. And so, I got some good world records for you, John. Okay. Then we'll check with John and sports. And before we go, we always play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So let's get right to it. I know Bigfoot is acting as a consultant on our show this week, since he knew we were going to be talking about a Bigfoot story. So
He sounds
so
as good-
excited.
He sounds as good as he does always.
Yes.
Yes. He is just beyond, he's out of his hair with excitement, whatever that was.
Whoa.
Oh my Lord.
Now, for
All right.
those of you who listened to our podcast last week, and by the way, thank you for doing that. We are on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on everything. Go to newclevelandradio.net, click on my link, and you'll find all the ways to find us. If you go to YouTube, I occasionally have some photographs. And John requested a photograph last week during Bluff, the co-host.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Yes, it
when
was.
we
Yes.
talked about green puppies. And John, John he's not from Missouri, but he's from near Missouri because he said, I want to see a photo. So John, without further ado, let me bring up the green puppy. There you go, right there. That's from UPI.
I know, Paul. I saw that when you sent it to me, and I was.
Well, I wanted to
It is-
make sure. I
It's
promised
flabbergasted.
that I would do it, and isn't it? It's cute in
It
a
really is cute.
Yeah.
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 In honor of the green puppy, it looked like the lady painted her nails green as well, unless they became green from handling. I don't know. which was
Maybe.
kind
Yeah.
or she was about to go to see Wicked, or I don't know, whatever it was. So this puppy, this was the 8th puppy in a litter of 8, and the poor guy was, I'm saying it's a guy, I don't really know what it is, was affected by the bile that was left over inside as the puppies were being born. And it good news, the puppy's okay. The green is gone, so probably for adoption for all I know. So
Okay.
that's good. Yeah, so a good story for that, and we always accept requests. For those of you who are listening online, I think you can communicate with Karen if you got any requests there. Send me
Absolutely.
an email. Yeah, send me a note on Facebook, and we'll see what we can do. So but we're going to start off with a world record, so I can get the puppy off the screen here. This one comes from Armenia, one of my favorite countries. I have some great recipes from Armenia that my mom got from a friend of hers who was Armenian, so that I do like to make. So anyways, a little aside there. Okay, Armenian athlete Roman Saradian set a Guinness World Record recently by performing, get ready for this, John, 23 pull-ups in a minute. Now,
Wow.
that's impressive, but where he did it is the best part, because he did 23 pull-ups in 1 minute from a helicopter that was flying.
Oh my gosh. How did he do that?
Well, let's see. There he is right there.
Oh my God.
So
Whoa.
he is, for safety reasons, it looks like he has a hard hat on, which that's not gonna,
You need a lot more than that. Oh my
I
God.
think so. Yeah. So it's a normal helicopter, and he's hanging from whatever those pontoons or whatever those things are called, the legs on the bottom of the helicopter, doing pull-ups. And I've seen this happen before. We have really bad traffic in Cleveland sometimes, and when the traffic reporters get their freeways mixed up or something like that, Clevelanders will track them down and make them do pull-ups as punishment from their helicopter. But this is exactly what he did. He did it for fun, I guess. John, I'm going to guess. I'll speak for myself. I was not known for being good at doing pull-ups. I don't know about you. That was not my favorite thing in gym class.
No, pull-ups are always a tough thing to do. And again, for him to be able to do that many in a minute, it's
In a
astounding.
minute, yeah, 23 in a minute, hanging so he's fighting the breeze coming down from the propeller.
Sure.
It's wild. So I don't want to be this guy. I want to be the guy who says, hey, John, I bet you can't do pull-ups while hanging from the bottom of a helicopter. Here, hand me your beer. and then John jumps up onto the helicopter.
Oh man. Wow. That's amazing.
That was just the most amazing. That's one of the more amazing world records. How did the Guinness people know? What record did he break? Because it said he broke the record. So somebody must have done it before.
I'm wondering too. I'm wondering, like, how long does he have to train for this, and how does he train for it? I mean, does
And how
he
much
have
did the helicopter cost?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had
really.
to rent that. Do you
a
go
lot of
to
unknowns on this one? A lot
And-
of
go to Uber Chopper and say, okay, I need you for
And I would
10
think
minutes.
the pilot or the helicopter company would have to have really good insurance.
Good insurance. Oh, no
Oh,
kidding.
yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
You would
he's
think-
not very high off the ground, but high enough. Geez,
Yeah, sure.
scares
Yeah.
me.
Well, it's a
Wow.
world record, so you have to congratulate him for that.
So I like to call the kind of stories like this. How much would how much would you have to be paid to do something like this? So that's our first one. Now I've got another one right here. I'm going to take that picture down because I don't have a photo for this one. So this one I put up on Facebook. How much money would you need to make to do this? So this comes from Great Britain, a company called Omni, which makes vegan dog food, which is a weird subject in itself. But they're making plant-based dog food, and they're looking for a volunteer. They will pay them $6,600 to sniff their dog's poo after the dog eats their vegan dog food.
No.
You have to do it for 8 weeks. They give you the
8
food for
weeks?
free. Yeah, they give you a little notepad and the food, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, you feed the
That's
dog.
from the sublime to the ridiculous, Paul.
And
this-
how
really.
how much can you earn doing this?
In 8 weeks, $6,600. So that's
That's not worth it. No.
$800 a week. Oh, come on.
No.
Just sniff your dog's poo once a day, maybe
Oh
twice a
no,
day.
no, no.
Oh, come on.
No,
See,
I'm with Karen on this one. There's no way. There's no way. Seriously.
my niece's husband, Dave, said, well, I'll do it. Sure. Where do I sign up?
Oh, really? Oh, boy.
As someone who has lived with dogs most of my life, my concern isn't sniffing the dog's poo. My dogs would get into all kind of weird food, and then they'd fart for 24 hours. That's my concern, is vegan farts coming out of the dog.
Oh boy! I tell you what, neither is interesting enough for me to try to do something like that.
I wouldn't expect that from you, John. And I've seen dogs eat vegetation, but it's only eating grass to barf it up 5 minutes later because they eat something that upset their stomach.
Right.
Probably vegan dog food.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like the only time I ever heard someone say they were feeding their dog a vegan diet was when I asked them why their dog was scooting on its butt across the rug, and they said, "Oh, because we feed them that vegan dog food." So don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. There's not enough money to do it.
Really?
Speaking of dog food, I have a second dog food story here. They're constantly testing dog food, to make sure that dogs like it and it's good for them. They even feed it to people, which is I don't understand that. But so this company did DNA testing on 45 different dog food products from 16 brands. This comes from Singapore. A company in Singapore did this, and they did the DNA test to find out what's in the dog food. Now this is dog food, meat-based, not the plant stuff. And they found, believe it or not, DNA from endangered species, including a number of endangered shark species in dog food. Dogs will eat anything that falls on the floor. Why are you putting endangered species in your dog food to get them to eat it? It makes no sense. So I'm guessing that they caught them accidentally, but even so, that that one bothered me. And then the dog, they wash it down with toilet water. You can feed dogs anything,
Whoa.
That's why
I don't think I'm eating dinner
pet.
tonight.
Let's get into some other subjects here quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we'll go to the nuns. This is for John.
Okay.
John and I both spent 12 years. Well, we spent 8 years being taught by nuns, and 8 more years being taught by priests and nuns and all kind of Catholics. So this one comes from Italy. So Pope Francis was concerned about the health of nuns worldwide. So he issued an encyclical on nun health, and he said that you need to work out more. So a group of nuns in Italy took the Pope's advice, and they formed a soccer team, which of course they call football in Italy, but I'm going to call it soccer because it's easier for me to understand. They formed the first national nun soccer team, and they actually compete against women's soccer teams throughout Europe. So they're pretty good. I had a picture of them on Facebook. They look like they're in really good shape. They were in habits, although I don't think they play their matches in habits, which would be habit forming. They hard to get a nun to kick or habit. So John, I'm thinking, we should do this. I know a couple of nuns. We could get, and I know what they were good at. Nuns were good at throwing erasers and swinging yardsticks. So we should form a nuns baseball team in Cleveland. I think we could still find enough in Cleveland that had those skills, and we could go barnstorming with them, playing.
Wow. Paul, if nothing else, that's a novel idea.
Novel. Thank you. Novel. That's a nice word for it. But my good friend, Tex Chick down in Texas, traditionally sends me, and this goes back a long way because she knows my affection of nuns. She sends me a calendar every year with pictures of nuns in various activities that you don't normally expect nuns to be in. A lot of them are sports related. So there's been pictures of nuns playing baseball, bowling, shooting rifles, one of my favorites, doing non-nun things. And I remember when we were younger, we used to see nuns at baseball games a lot. It's like the team formerly known as the Indians and other teams in Major League Baseball would give free tickets to nuns to get them to come to the games. And you would think that with nuns at the games, it would cut down on some of the, on the spitting and the swearing and the scratching. But those nuns didn't care if they were on camera or not. They still did it. And it was disgusting. The
nuns weren't spitting and scratching, right?
That was the joke, Karen. There you go. That was the joke. You caught it. We were late today. We couldn't have rehearsal because we were late today. So
yeah.
So now, speaking of, this is another women's story. This one comes from India. Police in India are looking for this woman who walks up to people. She takes a cobra out of her basket and threatens them with it until they give her their money and their clothes. So here's the process. She walks up to them, opens her basket, pulls out a cobra, which is a venomous snake, not good to be bitten by, and makes them give her their clothes and their money. So the money goes to the woman. I guess like the belts and the shoes go to the snake, and the cobra uses it to teach little snakes.
It's made with snake skin.
Oh, you would hope. I would think so. Yeah. Scared of little cobras. Don't get too close to humans. You could end up like this. But to me, this is the perfect idea. This is the perfect premise for a TV show. The woman who make her a cop, not a crook, who solves crimes with her cobra in her basket. It'd be like kung fu. Somebody from another country coming to the United States doesn't want to use a gun, so she uses her cobra. Instead of kung fu, be cobra fu or snake fu, something like that.
Snake fu.
Yeah, snake fu. Coming to a show to a network near you, or probably already on Netflix, or what's the other one? Hulu, yeah, Peacock Plus. You have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So the lovely Donna hates that, having to pay for all these service. You want to try and cut the cable, and instead you got to pay for this and you got to pay for that, and a new show comes on and they show it to you once, and then it's on Peacock and you got to pay for it. Oh, I have to turn the TV up to drown her out because that's all she does is complain about it.
I think you're talking about reality now.
That's right. My number one fan. I know.
Right, there it is.
All right. So here's another one for you, John. And I do have a picture of this endurance athlete, a world record holder as well. His from Poland, Polish endurance enthusiast. That's what he goes by. Walerian Romanowski broke the Guinness World Record for what he did. He spent 3 hours and 28 minutes with his body submerged in a tank of ice cubes. Now, I know John doubts that anybody would do something like that. So I think I have a picture of Mr. Romanowski. There he is, buried up to his neck in a plexiglass cabinet filled with ice cubes from the gas station down the street.
How long did he do that, Paul? How long was he in there?
3 hours and 28 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. He was checked out by a doctor. They had a doctor there. He was checked out afterwards. And the doctor said that he was fine. And the shrinkage would go away in a week. But other than that, he was in good shape.
Well, they say ice cubes are good for your fertility.
Drinks.
So
what?
Fertility.
Fertility? Really?
Yes. Men are supposed to ice themselves first.
Wow.
What about the what about the shrinkage? Every man listening said.
Hey, I'm just telling you what we were
medical
told.
source, what medical source are you using for this, Karen?
I'm using my urologist and gynecologist that helped me with infertility.
I was going to say, how did you get on the subject of ice cubes on male parts with those doctors? But now I guess we know.
Anyways.
And Karen does have 2 sons, so there's your proof right there.
Right.
So, I was thinking about this guy. Not many people would want to try this. Nobody wants to be cold anymore. We live in Northeast Ohio where it's cold today, but nobody wants to be cold. Nobody even wants to sit in a cold car. All my neighbors, they have that remote start. So, they sit in the house, in a nice warm house, and they start the car up. So it's nice and toasty before they get into it. To me, that's like putting a sign on your car for car thieves saying, he's not coming out for a while. Drive it away. So what if it's cold? You got a free car. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, so that's Mr. Romanowski setting his right 3.5 hours in ice.
There's a strong man right there.
Yeah.
Strong man right there.
That's not a word I would use, but okay, John, this one's for you. This one comes from Italy, from your home country, half home.
Okay.
2-year-old rare Italian bear. Bears are very rare in Italy, by the way. So that makes this story even more rare. A 2-year-old rare Italian bear who broke into a bakery in Roccaraso, which is in central Italy. He broke into a bakery and feasted on all the goodies that were in the bakery. Well, good news, he was captured by wildlife officials and relocated to a bear sanctuary. Now, they want to make sure everybody knows it wasn't the bear's fault. The bear was peeking into a window down the street and saw these 2 guys in dark suits and heard one of them say, "Leave the gun, take the cannoli."
No.
And it just implanted in his bear brain, and he saw a bakery and went in for the cannoli and ate everything in there. So, John, what movie is that from?
Well, as most people know, it's from Godfather. It's
there you go.
Godfather in 1972.
The original Godfather. That's right. Who said it, by the way?
Clemenza.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. Let's see. I got a better one here. Who wrote the line for Clemenza?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, Mario Puzo wrote the book, and Francis Ford.
Was it him?
Right.
Director Francis Ford Coppola. Wasn't him.
Who was it?
Believe it or not, it was the guy who played Clemenza, Richard Castellano. He improvised it, and it's a classic line. Absolutely one of the most memorable lines in all of movies. So Clemenza didn't do the killing. Who did the killing? Do you remember who was the killer and who was the killee?
Well, I think Paulie was the victim.
The victim, right?
Yeah, and the person that shot him was
sitting in the back seat.
The back seat too. Yeah. Oh no, I can't. I've seen it so many times. I can't remember who it is.
I know. It was Rocco.
Right. Okay.
Rocco
Right.
was sitting in the back seat. All right. Here's one more. Why did he have a bag of plates that he wanted to take? Do you remember the reason why they had the cannolis?
Well, they were going to a party or something, weren't they? They were going to.
No. Before Clemenza left to go to do his murder, he's leaving, and his wife says, "Hey, stop and get some cannolis on the way home."
Oh my God, I forgot that. I forgot about that. Oh,
What a that, and then this I didn't realize this. You don't see Clemenza survived, because he had nothing to do with it. He was a very high up in the organization, but he wasn't in the second movie. And the reason why had nothing to do with the Godfather. It's that he didn't want to gain all the weight again. He lost the weight that he had gained to play Clemenza, and he didn't want to gain it again. So he said no. So they did a flashback of him with Bruno Kirby as young Clemenza.
Right.
So, yeah. and little interesting bit of trivia. The lovely Donna's cousin is married to Mark Weingartner. Now, Mark Weingartner was hired by the publisher, Random House, I believe it was, to do the sequel to The Godfather, The Godfather Returns. Did very well, but wasn't made into a movie. And Mark, by the way, lived in Cleveland for a number of years. He was an English teacher at John Carroll, where John and I went to college. And that's where he met Donna's cousin, who was a student there. And eventually, after she graduated and it was legal, they got married. Happy couple lived down in Florida now. Okay, so let's see how we're doing here. I got to watch my time here. We're off by what, 45 minutes? Yeah, we started.
Keep going. It's fine.
I want to make sure I get to the Jennifer Aniston ghost story. So let's see. Okay. So this is for you, Karen. So this is another study done by the Yale School of Management. Yale School of Management and the University of Toronto studied women and men and comedy. Karen loves going to comedy clubs, by the way. So what they found was that women can get away with telling bad jokes that get no laughs more often than men. Would that be your experience?
Yes, you must have met my mother when she was alive.
Oh, moms can say anything. Yeah.
She was the best at telling a joke poorly.
Oh, she was good. She was a good joke teller. Okay.
No, bad joke teller.
A bad joke teller. Okay. Was she bad at telling jokes, or did she tell bad jokes, or was it both?
Combination, yeah.
Combination. Okay. Well, that's what they found out. They said that women can get away with doing this. Men are under constant pressure to always perform in more ways than one. But in this case, in telling jokes. So and other men give them a hard time when the jokes bomb. So I think it's hard for women to find good jokes to tell. That's part of the problem, because especially women jokes, like you're not going to laugh when the joke starts out with a nun, and a nun walked into a bar. Won't work. It's got to be a priest, a rabbi, and a minister. Okay, so this story comes from Qatar, probably one of the richest countries in the world. So there's an archaeological expedition in Qatar, found a 6,500-year-old pearl bead. So it was a bead, not just a pearl, but it was a bead that had one time been part of a pearl necklace. 6,500 years ago, that's 4,500 BC it came from, making it the oldest pearl bead ever found. And so the guys are running around with it and showing everybody, and they showed it to a reporter, and the reporter, they couldn't stop talking about it. And then the reporter says, "Well, how much do you think that pearl bead is worth?" And at that point, they clammed up.
Paul, where's your horn? Where's your horn?
I should have given that one to Karen. She could tell that one. Yeah. Even Bigfoot has an opinion on that one. Yeah, I feel the same way. Okay. All right. So this one, all right. So here's John's story. This story comes from North Carolina, a fairly decent place to see they have a good chance of seeing Bigfoot. So this was on Reddit. A hiker was hiking near Montreat, I believe it's pronounced, North Carolina. There's a mountainous area there, and they found this footprint. Let's see if I can get it up here. There we go. No, that's not the footprint. Okay, so here's the footprint. This is a photograph. He has the guy put his wallet down on the ground next to the footprint, so you can see how big it is. For those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, the standard size wallet, the footprint is probably at least 2 times as long, maybe 2.5 times as long as the wallet, maybe 1.5 times as wide. So it's a pretty big footprint, and it looks like there's toes on it. So it's in mud. Okay, so the Bigfoot stepped in mud, and so he swore, the guy that found it, he wouldn't use his real name. He swore that this is a Bigfoot footprint. So John, I'm going to ask you before I go any further. What do you think? Does that look like a Bigfoot footprint to you?
I'll be candid with you. I think it could be. I mean,
could be. Wow. Okay. Boy, that skeptical John says. Karen, how about you? You think that's a Bigfoot footprint?
No way.
Right? Oh, Karen, a dissension.
Okay.
It's just a smear of mud.
Oh, well, the majority of the comments on the photo agreed with Karen. They said that it looks like 2 human boot prints made by a person who was sliding in the mud, and they kind of overlapped and the person slid, which, I consulted with my friend Bigfoot, and Bigfoot found that to be discriminatory because Bigfoot also liked to slide in the mud, and it could just have easily been a Bigfoot sliding in the mud as much as it could be a human wearing boots. But the general consensus by the commenters on Reddit was that close but no footprint.
Yep.
What can I say? Have you heard the expression crocodile tears?
Yeah.
I have,
Yeah.
sure.
Which means if someone's crying crocodile tears, it means that they're fake tears. Generally speaking, I would say that's what people that's what it's supposed to be. And I didn't know this, and we'll get to the story in a second, which is about crocodile tears. But crocodiles actually cry crocodile tears. They cry when there's no reason. And why would a crocodile have a reason to cry, by the way? But they cry while consuming their prey, which you would think they'd be happy. But this goes back many years. They studied it. And it has something to do with their tear ducts that get activated while they're eating. So believe it or not, this happened to a man in China. An elderly man in China found out that he started crying whenever he ate. And he went to the doctor, and the doctor said that they diagnosed him with an extremely rare condition called crocodile tear syndrome. Very few people have had it, but they knew what it was. He cries uncontrollably while eating, because in his earlier days, he suffered from facial paralysis, and he had surgery done to correct it. And they screwed up the surgery and somehow linked his tear ducts to his salivary glands.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that when he should sue, I know. He should. So when he eats, he just automatically starts crying, uncontrollably starts crying. Now, if you didn't suffer from facial paralysis and have the surgery, and you cry when you're eating, get your spouse a new cookbook. That's my recommendation on that one. I think that's your real problem.
Oh boy.
Now, I have a good animal story here for you. This one comes from all over the place. This is there's a species of male of spiders called the Paratracheella ornate species. They're little tiny spiders. A new study found that the males of these spiders give the females worthless gifts when they're as they're dating, as they're about to consume their relationship. They give them useless gifts like silk wrapped, dried up leftovers from eating, or little pieces of dead plants. Now, these spiders that do this are more often known as dead spiders, because what female, Karen, wants before a date or before getting married, wants a gag gift or a gift that makes them gag from the male?
That sounds like my relationship with my husband.
I was afraid of that. I thought about that before I brought this story up. I think this is how the black widow spiders got started. One of their husbands gave them gifts like that. Now,
Probably.
I have been accused of doing this myself by others who don't understand that the lovely Donna loves to receive power tools for her birthday and for Christmas because she uses them, sometimes on me, most often on components of the house. So anyways, now we get to the professional comedian in space story. I wanted to talk about that. This one comes from Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night oh boy. Saturday Night Live star Pete Davidson, who is, by the way, is also dating Kim Kardashian.
Whoa.
Right? Yeah. He is rumored to be one of the next passengers on Jeff Bezos's rocket ship, Blue Origin. He's supposed to go up into space with Jeff Bezos on the next flight later this year. So one of the things that's going around is that this could prove once and for all whether there is life in outer space, whether there are aliens in outer space. Because if he goes up and all of a sudden we get a message from aliens saying, we don't think he's funny either, that will prove that there's aliens and that they watch Saturday Night Live.
Well, of course.
Which, that for those of you who know who Pete Davidson is, I think he's somewhat funny. But that's a discussion that a lot of people have with the people they watch Saturday Night Live with. So anyways, I want to get to the story about Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox. Were you a Friends fan, John? Did you watch Friends?
I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. Who was your favorite of the?
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer. Oh, I should have known. Karen, were you a Friends fan?
I was, and I am again because we watch it in reruns.
And you watch it in reruns. I was never a Friends fan. I don't watch it in reruns. I believe Seinfeld was on right about that time, and I think I watched it and I compared it to Seinfeld, and I thought Seinfeld was superior. So to act superior, I stopped watching Friends.
Okay.
But for most people, if you mention the word friend and ghost, they don't think of Friends. They think of Casper the Friendly Ghost,
Right.
who was. I had to look this one up. There's a little trivia alert here. Casper the Friendly Ghost dates back to the 1930s. Cartoon character from the 1930s, originally created for a children's storybook. Went on to star in multiple comic books, 5 television shows. There were actually 5 Casper the Friendly Ghost cartoon shows.
Wow.
And dozens of films. Yeah. This was before our time, obviously. And our parents obviously loved this Friendly Ghost. So this is a story not about a friendly ghost, but about friends and ghosts. And it started with Courtney Cox, who this week, by the way, to either one of you, who did Courtney Cox play?
Monica.
Monica, there you go. Okay. So Courtney Cox revealed this week that she once had to sell her house because it was haunted. So she said that she's given this interview and she says, so Carole King came over to my house and said there'd been a divorce and it was really ugly and now there's a ghost in my house. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But other people who had stayed there with me, like friends, said they had an encounter with a woman who was sitting on the edge of the bed. Now, right off the bat, this was the real Carole King. And not only that, Courtney Cox bought the house from Carole King, which means this was the real house that was on the cover of Tapestry. If you remember that album, Carole King is sitting on a windowsill looking out. this is the house. It's the haunted house on Tapestry. So
and no idea that. Wow.
neither did I. That's right. That's why everybody tunes into What in the World, to get just real information you don't get on any other show except for Jimmy Kimmel, which is where she was. So anyway, so she's promoting a movie, by the way. So she lived in Carole King's house in Laurel Canyon, beautiful area in outside of Hollywood, and so she's got a ghost there, so she doesn't know what to do. She's at the house one day. She says she never saw the ghost, so she wasn't sure whether to believe people. So she says one day there's a knock at the door. She opens the door and it's the mail carrier, and the UPS guy. She says she doesn't remember, and she opens the door and he says, "Do you know this house is haunted?" And she says, "Yeah, whatever." And the guy says, "What?" She says, "Why do you say that?" And he says, "Because there's a ghost standing right behind you right now." And she turns around, doesn't see the ghost, but he didn't laugh, so she knew he was serious. He wasn't messing with her. So the house was built in 1926, almost 4,000 square feet, nice big house, 2-story rotunda, so a pretty house. If you Google it, there's a real estate listing, 5-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom, a swimming pool, and a ghost.
And a ghost.
So, yeah. So she bought it before she was on Friends. She bought it in the late 80s, and Friends didn't start till 91. But she had been in some other stuff and made a little bit of money, so I guess she could afford it. Oh no, she sold it in 91. She bought it in 94. She went to Friends in 94, and she was on Friends with Jennifer Aniston, John, who played who on Friends?
Rachel.
Rachel. There you go. All right, easy trivia. I'm sorry, that was
Okay,
even Bigfoot knew that one. So Jennifer Aniston, in a different interview, says that she had just moved from New York to California, and somebody says to me, "Oh, you have a ghost in your house. You should have someone look at it." like you have a mole and a ghost.
Yeah.
And she says she just landed in LA, and all of a sudden people are telling her she has a ghost in her house. Now she needs a ghost whisperer. So she says that she was living with a roommate, a human roommate, and they started hearing noises. The dishwasher started turning on all by itself. The stereo would go full blast. The coffee maker would come on by itself or go off by itself, and other things that she said were terrifying. So she brought in a medium to Ghostbuster, to check out the house. And the medium, to purify it, had got what do you call those things that you put, an ashtray? You put cigarettes in an ashtray, a little dish, and put some incense in it and lit the incense, and the dish cracked. So, it could have been a cheap dish. So she goes and gets a really big, heavy ashtray and put some more incense in that and lit it, and the giant ashtray cracked too. So now they're worried. Now they're convinced that there's a ghost in this house. So the medium, the Ghostbuster, tells Jennifer Aniston that the ghost doesn't like her roommate. So, and now I don't know if the roommate was there or not. So, in a very non-Rachel move, she moves out and doesn't tell the roommate. Rachel would never do that, would she?
No, never. No.
Out of character for sure. Yeah.
So
Wow.
the only other connection to ghosts that I could find with Friends was who's the other guy? Matt LeBlanc. Joey. He played Joey. So there was an episode, the one where the stripper cries. Do you remember that one, John?
I really don't. I don't remember.
How big of a fan you are.
No, I don't remember that episode though. Sorry.
So in this one, Donny Osmond is a game show host for a game called Pyramid, I guess, like $10,000 Pyramid. And Joey is a contestant on the show with a guy named Greg. So Greg is given the clues that Joey's supposed to answer. So Donny Osmond says, go. So Greg picks up the clue and he says, and the word is cream. Okay. So it's things that are white. That's the category. So the word is cream. He says, you put this in your coffee. Joey says, spoon, your hand, your face. Typical Joey lines. Gene says, it's white. Joey says, paper, snow, a ghost. Gene says, it's heavier than milk. Joey says, a rock, a dog, the earth. Gene says, pass. So then he gets another word. So remember, things that are white. So the word is mayonnaise. So he says to Joey, you put this on a sandwich. And Joey says, salami, anchovies, jam. Gene says, it's white. Joey says, paper, snow, a ghost.
God.
So there, I don't think he lived in a haunted house. If Joey Tribbiani, whatever his name was, lived in a haunted house, the ghost would move out. That's what I think.
Yes, you got it.
The ghost.
So, anyways, that's our stories for this week. I really loved that story. I thought that was a lot of fun. I think it's time to move on to John DiNallo and What in the World of Sports. Now, every week I ask John to come up with a weird sport that our listeners may not have heard of. Sometimes I'll ask for something that maybe we could participate in. But for the past few weeks, we've gone off on a tangent with celebrities who were actually really good athletes in college, sometimes even professionals. And it's been a lot of fun. We've done weird sports, we've done basketball, and John has a new sport for us this week. So John, why don't you tell us what sport filled with celebrities we'll be talking about?
Yeah, okay, Paul, sure, and Karen. Well, the sport this week is football. And as we're continuing our look at celebrities who were outstanding college and in some cases professional athletes, today we move to football. And some of the stars that you may be surprised to learn played on the gridiron. The first star is Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill.
The star of Married with Children and Modern Family. He was he was a star defensive lineman at Youngstown State University. And he played
right down the road from us.
He played at Youngstown State in 1967 and 68. And then he actually, after leaving Youngstown State, he was brought into the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp in 1969 as an undrafted rookie. And
Ed O'Neill.
Pittsburgh
Steelers. Wow.
But he claims that he might have made the team if it had not been the fact that he was competing with Mean Joe Green. So
Hall of Famer Mean Joe Green.
Yeah, you know who's going to make the team.
Holy smoke! Yeah. Ed O'Neill.
Easily enough, as a consolation, in 1996, Ed O'Neill was honored as the Youngstown State Penguin of the Year for his college career.
Oh, what an honor!
Yeah,
nice. Penguin of the Year. But is that their mascot?
Yes, the mascot for their athletic teams is the Penguin. So there it was. He returned to Youngstown to get the award. But
wow,
kind of a little known statistic about him.
Yeah. Well, he's done much better on TV, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think he had quite an acting career, obviously.
Yeah.
Our next athlete is Phil Robertson.
Phil Robertson,
who's the star of Duck Dynasty.
That guy.
Interestingly enough, he had an impressive college career also. He was a star at in his native Louisiana. He played at Louisiana Tech University for 2 seasons, and he was the starting quarterback there ahead of another that you may know. And that quarterback is Terry Bradshaw.
Really?
Wait, the same school that had Terry Bradshaw and tons of other phenomenal quarterbacks also had Phil Robertson. The Duck Dynasty Phil Robertson. That's amazing.
And as it goes, Robertson was considered talented enough to play in the NFL.
Wow.
His coach said that and his teammates said that, but he walked away from football his final year of eligibility to spend more time outdoors. And actually, that move made him a millionaire. So it looks like he made the right decision.
Well, plus, think about it. He couldn't, with that long beard, he couldn't wear a chin strap to hold his helmet.
I didn't think of that till you just said it, Paul. Yeah, you're right about that.
I think about
you
these
wouldn't
things,
be able to wear the
John, you know.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to wear the helmet.
Bill Robertson, the football player, who unbelievable. Top that one.
Now, I will tell, and now this celebrity is gonna floor you. Okay, this celebrity is Dr. Phil. Yes,
Dr. Phil, another Phil.
Phil.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Phil is not someone that you would think that would be suiting up on a football field,
No.
but the popular TV talk show host, he attended the University of Tulsa in 1968,
Wow.
believe it or not, on a football scholarship. Now,
Dr. Phil.
he played middle linebacker, which is a very challenging position. He played that position, and he was in a history-making game while at Tulsa.
Okay.
At Tulsa, get ready for this. They played University of Houston,
Yeah.
and in that year, in '68, Tulsa lost to Houston by the score of 100-6. Now, the significance to this, because that is the most lopsided game in the entire history of college football.
I can imagine.
100-6.
Wow.
Wow.
100
The
to 6.
zips
I'm sure.
actually look good.
Yeah. Well, really.
He must threw his helmet on the ground and said, "I'm going to the medical school."
That's right. That's right. I'm going to become eventually a TV talk show host. But anyway,
Yeah, right.
Dr. Phil McGraw.
Wow.
Now, here's another athlete. Before his A-list movie career, Dwayne Johnson was a football star.
Oh, The Rock.
The Rock was at the University of Miami. And at the
in Florida.
Right, in Florida.
Yeah.
He started as a defensive lineman, and he played there until he graduated in 1995. Undrafted by the NFL, he tried his hand at the Canadian Football League.
Wow.
Didn't latch with the team there, but then he decided to follow in the footsteps of his father. A little known fact is Johnson is the son of the professional wrestler Rocky Maivia, who wrestled professionally in the 1970s and 1980s.
Rocky Maivia. Wow, the father of The Rock.
Oh, that's it. So so that was his dad, and so
he looks like, God, come on. The guy, he has to turn sideways to walk through doorways.
He's a big man, obviously, but So anyway, so the next celebrity, Terry Crews. Okay,
another massive.
Now he looks like a pro athlete, obviously, because he was one. Okay, so he attended Western Michigan University on a full football scholarship.
Wow.
He was then drafted into the NFL, and this is at the time when the NFL had 11 rounds. He was drafted kind of low, 11th round, but he did play for the Rams, the Chargers, the Redskins, and the Eagles before moving on to Brooklyn 99, America's Got Talent, and then many other roles. So
wow.
Looks like he
played for 4 teams. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
But
I would have not known that until I did this actual study as well.
Yeah.
Now for our senior listeners, which is us included. Okay. Person by the name of Marion Morrison. He played college football at the University of Southern California before going on to great fame in Hollywood after changing his name to John Wayne.
Oh, the Duke played football for Southern Cal. Wow.
Well, and I have another trivia point for you. So when he attended USC in 1925, he attended on a full scholarship.
Wow.
And the cost for his tuition that year in 1925 was $280.
Oh my God.
I had to work part-time.
Can't get a credit hour for that today.
No, that's a good one. You're right.
Now, granted, okay, it's nearly 100 years ago, but the point is, it was that inexpensive. Not inexpensive, but that's what the cost was.
Yeah.
Everything's unbelievable. Now, in closing, although Paul and I did not play for our college football team, people who saw us play intramural football, which we did, may have seen us as a future podcast star when they said, "What in the world are they doing out there on that field?" Sometimes
You
fiction
know
is.
they said that, John.
Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, right? But
You know what? That's right. That's right. John and I did not. We were not on the blue streak, the John Carroll blue streak
he did
football
not
team.
play. We did not play football with Jack Carroll. Not
No,
not, not
but
varsity.
we
Yeah.
did try out for it, and I don't know if you remember our tryouts, John.
Yes, I
when we
Yes,
were when we were there, they actually took photographs of all the people who tried out. So I have a photograph of us. Oh, that's not it. There we go. There's John and I.
Yep, I'm sure that is very
There
good.
you go. That's the gentlemen in this photo are all wearing leather helmets. So
at that time we had spring in our legs. Not so much now, but at that time we did.
no, that's right. It kind of looks, it looks a lot like the field that was next to the stadium where we went to school, which was they wouldn't let us play on the real stadium because
we had to play on. We had to play at
grass or something.
Field. Yeah, we played at Wasmer Field. Wasmer Field.
Now, John, that's right. John was much better than I was, Karen, and I believe he was the quarterback on the team. Here's a picture of John. Throwing the.
Oh, very nice, John.
Yeah, good-looking guy. Good-looking guy.
Good form. Good form.
Somehow I was much taller then. Somehow, in some way.
One more trivia question. I know you don't recognize who that is, John. That is Slingin' Sammy Baugh.
Oh, Sammy Baugh, of course.
Sammy Baugh. I don't know who he played for, but that's actually not. That wasn't.
I believe he played for the Detroit Lions. I thought Bobby Lane played for the Detroit Lions. He played for the Redskins, I believe.
I was going to say I thought he played for the Redskins too. So
right, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So that isn't John, but we did wear leather helmets.
I don't know if it helped us or not, but yeah, we did wear them. So.
It didn't help us. No, it didn't help us at all. Okay. All right, John, thanks as always for what in the world of sports. Let's get right to
very welcome.
Our last segment, everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. There we go.
We're ready.
Bigfoot's happy with it.
I've been studying all week. So
that's right. That's right. I believe Karen won last week. So as always, John is motivated to come back. So as you may know, if you listened to the show before, Bluff the co-host, I have 3 stories that are similar to the ones we talked about all during the show. One big difference, some of them or all of them may be bluffs, and it's up to John and Karen and those of you listening on the podcast to figure out which one it is. Wagering is allowed, so place your bets. Karen and John, put your hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. The pandemic has caused hiring shortages everywhere, and people working at home has allowed wildlife to take over urban areas. One town in Japan has solved both problems by hiring zombies to chase deer and wild boars off the streets and back into the woods. The zombies are from an annual zombie camp held in the city, which produced a video of zombies chasing boars out of town to let people know the camp is open again and there are no more wild boars roaming the streets, just zombies. Camp opens soon, so get your application sent in and start practicing your boar chasing zombie walk. All right, so the town in Japan that's a zombie camp host chasing wild boars out of the city with zombies. Real or bluff, Karen? What do you say?
Well, no offense to all my Japanese friends. I think I have some. I hope this is not true because it just sounds like really weird.
Weirder than usual or just weird?
No, weirder than usual.
Weirder than usual. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
I have to agree with Karen on this because even though there is a proliferation of zombies everywhere on television, there's no zombies. There's no such thing as a zombie. I mean, some people believe in zombies, but I don't believe in zombies. So I'm going to say it's false.
John, okay. So both John and Karen say that story is a bluff. The zombies chasing wild boars out of a city in Japan. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, well, let's see. You're both going to be disappointed. That's a real story.
Now, wait a minute. Now, wait 1 second. What kind of zombies are these?
Yeah, people believe they are
There's a zombie
zombies.
camp, John.
Oh,
I have a picture. I have a picture of
still,
these
still
people
no,
dressed
still
up like
no,
zombies.
no dice on that, Paul. No dice on that. People think they're zombies. They're not zombies. They're people.
They're people dressed as zombies
Oh, come
chasing
on.
wild boars out of this city. It's a
Uh,
real story. We'll leave it at that. So let's check check the
gosh.
scoreboard. The score is 0-0. All right,
Okay.
let's get to story number 2, hands on the buzzers. A man unclear on the concept was asked to leave a showing of the Batman movie at a theater in Wyoming after he began complaining that Batman never once climbed a wall and talked to someone sticking their head out of a window. He also was screaming "Boff," "Thwack," and "Kapow" every time there was any action, and swore when no one said "Holy anything, Batman." Yes, the man was trying to make a point that he was a fan of the Adam West Batman TV show from the 1960s, but unfortunately, no one in the theater was born before 1990, so the management asked him to leave, giving him a free ticket to the midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show as consolation. All right, so the man who was thrown out of the Batman movie because he was disappointed it was nothing like Adam West and the Batman TV show that we all grew up watching. What do you say, John? Real or bluff? Wyoming, by the way. Wyoming.
Wyoming. I would say it's real. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that identify with the Batman from the 1960s. And this person, if he was, again, older, would recognize that and was
A little older. Yeah.
That's not what he's seeing on the screen. So I'm going to say it's real.
John says it's real. Okay. All right. Karen, how about you?
Well, it's funny you should be talking about this because yesterday my son went to see the Batman movie.
Okay.
And my comment to him was, did Batman save the world? And he goes, you don't know anything about the new series, Mom. So I'm going to say it's true because I'd be sitting there in the theater trying to figure out what was going wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about this new movie. I've seen clips. I haven't seen it yet, and it does look challenging. Let's say the least. So let's see. So Karen says that is a bluff, and John says it's a bluff. Am I correct there? All right. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, wait.
No, wait a second. No.
John said it was real.
No,
we both said it was
real. We both said it was real. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, we almost had to call in the commissioner. So you both said it was real. So let's check with the judges, and the judges say you're both wrong again. That's a bluff. Although I agree with you, I probably would be doing the same thing in the theater.
How disappointing. Well, maybe the real key on that was the ticket to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Maybe that was really, if we listened up on that.
That was
you see that anywhere now. You don't see that anywhere. I mean, a ticket
that story came. We were having a conversation with a friend of ours about the Batman TV show, and I said my favorite part was when they walked up the wall. That was just so absurd, and celebrities would pop out of the window.
That was a unique show. That was a unique series.
Very unique, very unique. Okay, so let's see. The score is 0-0. Holy smokes, Batman! No one got me yet.
Okay, we got to get going here now. Got to get this.
All right, so let's get to points are doubled in round number 3, which means that either one of you could get 2 points. If the other person is wrong, you're the winner. So let's get right to it. Paintball is a fun and popular sport, but not everyone can afford the paintball guns, paintballs, the protective gear, and the fees at the local paintball emporium. That explains why firefighters in Kansas were called out to put out a fire in an abandoned building that was being used by people who couldn't afford paintball guns. So they were fighting with homemade potato launching guns. These Baker bazookas are not exactly safe. A good-sized Idaho can leave quite a bruise, especially when you jam it down a PVC pipe filled with hairspray and then light the other end with a lighter. No one was hurt by the fire, and police are on the lookout for some young guys with nice hair and big potato bruises. All right, back to you, Karen. The fire started by people playing paintball with, let me get it straight, homemade potato launching guns.
This
What do you
is just,
say?
it's too far-fetched. Why would you use a potato of all things? And how would you know how to make this launching gun? No, it's fake. It's fake.
Okay. How would you know how to do it? You would look it up on Facebook. I mean, on the internet.
On YouTube.
Okay. So Karen says it's a bluff. John, what do you say? Paint the homemade potato launching guns.
I'm going to say it's just weird enough, strange enough to be real. I'm going to say it's true.
Well, one of us is going to win.
John goes back to his old model. It's so
Yeah.
weird it must be true. Okay.
Exactly.
So Karen says it's a bluff. John says it's real. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Guess what, John? You go home a winner this week."
Whoa!
Very good.
John can celebrate for a week.
Hey,
Close,
the
very-
pressure's off. The pressure's off now. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
big
and Karen, yes, you can Google homemade paint
I'm
potato
sure.
launching gun. Huge PVC pipes. They show you how to do it, what kind of glue to get, what kind of hairspray to get, the best potatoes that to use, how to put a handle on it. Oh, it's unbelievable. And these people were actually playing games in this warehouse, this abandoned warehouse.
Unbelievable.
When one of them, the hairspray got too close to the wall. I don't know. But you're
Well-
right. Yeah. Sometimes you lose your faith in humanity when you find out that these stories are real.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
So
But you know
anyway,
what? John won, and it's really important because he studied so hard this past week.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. That's right.
He did.
That
Oh, yeah.
really did a good
John is a role player. Yeah, John is like those actors who get into character. John really, when he was doing that football story, his wife called me up and she said, "Why is John wearing a leather helmet this week?" And I said, it must have something to do with the story, with the sports.
Love it.
Oh, anyways, another fun week at What in the World with we're so glad you joined us on the podcast, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, whatever you're watching us or listening to us on. Thank you so much for doing that. Please come back next week. Go to newclevelandradio.net, find all the ways to download the podcast for free. And while you're there, check out all of the great podcasts that our producer and media mogul, Karen Hale, has for you. You name it, she's got some great podcasts to listen to after you finish laughing at, hopefully,
Yes.
at What in the World. I want to thank my old friend, college roommate, college buddy and fraternity brother, John DiNallo, for What in the World of Sports. Thanks again, John, and for putting up with us.
Karen. Yeah, it's always fun. It's always a fun
Absolutely.
show. Always
Always good when you win. I know.
I beat the heck out of losing, that's for sure.
Beats the heck out of losing. All right, so that's it for this week. We'll see you again. By the way, when you look us up, do like or follow, do all that stuff that you're supposed to do on those platforms, so that we know you're here.
Absolutely.
Check us out on Facebook. Check me out on Facebook. Just let us know you're tuning in. We like to hear from you. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye until next week.
Everybody